Hello, my name is Katrina and I am filming my first, I guess, kind of TTC infertility video. This is my intro video. So, I am 34 years old. I will be 35 in December. My husband and I have been trying to have a baby for 4 years now. We started, I have some notes here because I'm not going to remember everything. Actually I stopped taking birth control in December of 2010. And we started actively trying, I would say, in March of 2011. We got pregnant right away, but I didn't realize I was pregnant. And a couple weeks after my, I guess, March period, I started bleeding again and didn't know what that was all about. At the time I was in nursing school. Didn't know why I was bleeding. I was just spotting, and I thought, I know that from time to time women can have unusual bleeding here and there. And after 11 days, I decided, I don't think this is normal. So I'm also a veteran. I was in the Army for 4 years. So I went to the VA, scheduled an appointment, and they did some blood work. They called me back that evening and they were like, "Congratulations, you're pregnant." Well, the doctor wasn't all excited like that. But the doctor called me that evening. My husband was away on business. And so I was excited but kind of skeptical, just because of the bleeding that I had been having. And it was very light. It wasn't even like a period at all. So come to find out, I actually was not. Well, I had HCG. I had the pregnancy hormone still in my system, but at that point, the pregnancy had already passed. So I didn't know that. I know a whole lot more now than I did before in terms of, all the steps to get pregnant, hormones and all that good stuff. So I had scheduled an appointment with like a really natural midwives center for my first OB appointment. She did the exam, and by that time I would have been about 8 weeks. So she did the exam. She said that my uterus was enlarged, which was a good thing, indicating that there was something growing in there. They did not do blood work. They did not check my progesterone levels. About a week later, I had an appointment scheduled for an ultrasound. So I go in for the ultrasound. They couldn't see anything. Now, if I knew then what I know now, I would have known, oh, I'm not pregnant at all. I actually already miscarried. So all this time, I'm like trying to convince myself, literally trying to convince myself that I'm pregnant because I really wanted to be. So my midwife called me that afternoon and said, hey, they didn't really see anything on ultrasound. I want you to come in for some blood work. So I go in for blood work. They told me to come back in like a week to repeat my blood work. Well, when I went back to repeat it, they let me know, oh, your levels are actually negative. You're not pregnant. So the first blood work that I had done after that 11 days of bleeding, my HCG was 40, which is incredibly low. You all know that. Anybody who's out there TTCing watching this video. So that was that pregnancy. I was devastated. I was in nursing school. I actually left there and had to go take a picture for my background check, all this good stuff. I'm like at the end of nursing school, about to graduate. And I left there, went and took my photo, went to school and had to take this big test. Took my test, went home, cried like nobody's business. Oh, and I found out that I had miscarried like officially that day. I go back to school and found out that one of my classmates was like 4 months pregnant. Maybe not that far along, but I was like, oh. I couldn't even say congratulations. I just looked at her and I sat there. She wasn't talking to me. She was talking to some other students, so it wasn't like it was that rude. But anyway, that was that. So that was really hard. Second pregnancy was in December of 2011. At this point, I'm working in the operating room, very stressful environment, that job didn't work out for me. It wasn't for me, so I resigned from there. Anyway, I got pregnant in December of 2011. Super excited. This time I was using OPKs and got pregnant right away again. This time I was obviously very nervous considering what happened previously, and I still decided to go with the midwife. Looking back on that, for me that was a bad choice. So I don't even remember where I got my first blood work done at, but went to, actually, anyway, don't remember where all the blood work was done. My HCGs checked. I didn't think at that time to ask I think I went to my primary care. I didn't go to the VA. I went to another, because my husband has insurance as well. So I went and had some blood work done, and I think then I went to the VA and I asked them to check my levels again, because at this time I'm just focused on HCG. I'm just wanting to see those numbers rise how they're supposed to. I wasn't thinking anything about progesterone. So they did my blood work there. Of course I didn't tell them that I'd already had it done. And then I wanted the VA to repeat it again. And they actually, I don't know, I can't remember how all that went. I think I went to the VA first, and then I went, and then I asked them to repeat it, and they wouldn't repeat it. They said, oh, you're fine, blah, 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 whatever. They did not, they just wouldn't repeat it. They didn't see any reason to, even though I'd had a miscarriage before. So I went to my primary care, and I was like, hey, I think I might be pregnant. Can you take my HCG? So they repeated it, and they called me, and my numbers were looking good, so I was happy. But I didn't think anything about progesterone. So I go for my first OB appointment, and I'm talking to the midwife, me and my husband, and I'm like, hey, maybe I should be on progesterone, supplemental progesterone. And the midwife's like, no, you're good. I don't know what she was basing that on, because I don't know what she was basing that on. Don't know. She hadn't checked my progesterone levels. She said, people who have 3 or more miscarriages, I don't even know. I don't know what her justification was, but I work in an OBGYN office now, and any patient who comes in with a positive urine pregnancy test from home, we check their HCG and progesterone. It's standard. I don't know if that's just something that the 2 midwives I went to at 2 separate facilities didn't think was necessary, but I find that really strange and negligent. That's just me. I don't want to pursue anything legally. I just find it quite strange. So, fast tracking forward, I'm going to try to, I guess, be a little more brief with this portion. I've had 4 IUIs, 2 of them Clomid cycles, and 2 injectable cycles over the past few years. Didn't get pregnant with any of those cycles. The last one was actually canceled because I had like 6 mature follicles, and they were concerned that I could get pregnant with multiples, which, looking back on that, I just think that was ridiculous, because just looking at my history, I've had 2 miscarriages. I had 3 IUIs, all looked perfect. Perfect. Everything looked perfect. My husband's sperm looked perfect. My follicles looked perfect. My lining looked amazing. And no pregnancy at all. So then I have 6 mature follicles, which we don't even know if the eggs in there were mature. And they canceled the cycle. And we did not really try on our own. We kind of did a modified try, but I'm not really going to go into detail about that. But we didn't get pregnant with that one either. So then we decided to do IVF in June, July of this year. And currently I am pregnant. I'm 5 weeks and 5 days. I have like 0 symptoms. I'm quite anxious and all kinds of everything, but I pray a lot, I meditate, I refocus my thoughts to other things. It has been really, really challenging for all of you who know, I'm on YouTube all the time stalking people. I have my favorites. You know who you are because I'm posting all the time on your channels. But I wish that I had started this earlier, my vlogs, but it's just such an emotional process. It's very hard to talk about. I post on different websites and things all the time, but to actually talk about it has been really hard for me, and I've wanted to journal about it as well, just, you know, writing journal. I used to journal a lot, but I've just found that it's too hard. It's been really too hard for me to do that. So I hopped on YouTube. I did make a video before this one day when I was just feeling really anxious, waiting for my nurse to call with my hormone levels. So I will post that one as well. I don't have any makeup on. My face has been doing a bunch of crazy stuff because I had acne. I've had acne for a long time. It's looking pretty great right now because I'm pregnant, and when I'm pregnant my skin looks beautiful. So the scars and the pimples are starting to fade and everything. So that's a little caveat. So at this point I have not had my first ultrasound yet. I need to call as soon as I finish making this video to schedule my first ultrasound for Friday. I'm quite nervous about that because my first two pregnancies, my first two ultrasounds were not good. The very first one, obviously they couldn't see anything. The second one, they did see a sac. And I think they saw a fetal pole, but no cardiac activity. So the idea of going in for my first ultrasound just makes me feel like I'm gonna explode. I'm nervous. So I think that's pretty much everything for now. Did I even say my name? I'm Katrina, as the title of the channel indicates. So this is my journey to motherhood, and I'm excited and super nervous, and stay tuned to see how it all plays out. Thanks for watching.